Y'all, it's Tina and I am back with a car chat video. I know. Of all the things that would bring me back for a car chat video, who knew that it would be RawBeautyKristi? Oh my God. So here's what had happened, all right? I've been debating about coming back and doing car chats, after having a baby and being busy, and Florida is really hot. So filming in a car is kind of not really the vibe because the camera will overheat. I will get hot and I don't drive anywhere long enough to do a car chat video, right? And then RawBeautyKristi showed her ass last week, and I'm like, whoo, am I going to have time to film a reaction to this? Am I going to? And then I was like, you know what? I think it's time we brought back car chat just for this. We may not do car chat videos frequently moving forward, but this warrants a car chat video because did y'all see this video from RawBeautyKristi? Oh my God. All right, let me give you some background before we talk about the video. So last year, July 4th specifically, because there is a timeline, RawBeautyKristi, I'm giving you some background. A lot of people like to hear the background to these little rant or car chat videos because they may not be well informed. So last July 4th, RawBeautyKristi participated in a 4th of July parade with her son and her husband and her sister and the co-op school that her sister was a part of, right? So they did, what do you call that? They did, it's not a float, but they did a little section. So they were marching in the parade, right? And RawBeautyKristi says she's always done this parade since she was a child. And now that she has her own child, they're doing it. It's a family thing, right? It's an annual thing. They participate. Fine. Good. So RawBeautyKristi marched in this parade with her son and her husband. And there were photos taken at that parade. In one of those photos, or I think it was actually multiple, if I'm not recalling this incorrectly, I think it was multiple photos. There were signs saying, don't mess with our kids. Now, if you're not aware, don't mess with our kids. Let me actually look this up because I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. But they're pretty much, all right, a hate group geared towards anti-trans and anti-LGBTQIA+. I want to get all the letters in there because we acknowledge everyone here. But their whole thing, and I'm going to read it from their website. I'm on the website, all right? Let me pop it up over here. So this is from the Her Movement website. Not my movement, but her movement website. Don't mess with our kids is the hashtag. So it says, our nation is in a crisis. Families are being ripped apart at the seams by an agenda determined to sexualize our kids. Enough is enough. Mama bears across the nation are rising up to join the Don't Mess with Our Kids movement and pray, fast, and stand for their families. Don't Mess with Our Kids was birthed out of Peru in 2016 by a brave brother and sister and thousands of families who decided to fight for their children, their families, and their nation. They were able to repeal 9 pro-trans laws, oust the prime minister and the education minister, and turn their nation to God. When we heard that, we said, if it could happen in Peru, it can happen in America too. Don't Mess with Our Kids USA was launched in July 2023 with the same blueprint used in Peru. What action is Don't Mess with Our Kids taking? We're committed to seeing America turn back to God through united prayer, fasting, and taking a stand in the public square for righteousness and truth. That's just what we did on April 13, 2024 in every state capital. Watch as thousands of Christians took to their capitals to say enough is enough, don't mess with our kids. Whose kids are they? And I want you to pay attention to this part. The National Education Association believes our children belong to them to teach and indoctrinate in the ways of LGBTQ, social justice, and beyond. Don't believe us? They'll tell us themselves in this unbelievable video. I'm not going to play the video. So what they're saying in a nutshell is this. They're anti-trans. They're anti-LGBT. They're anti-giving rights to trans people and LGBTQIA+ people across the nation. They believe that there is some agenda in our education system to indoctrinate your kids by teaching them about LGBT and being pro-human rights, because that's how I see it. It's human rights. You are against the LGBTQIA plus community existing. So they don't want their children to be taught about being gay, being lesbian, being bisexual, or being transgender, also being non-binary, like everything grouped into the LGBTIQA plus community. They are completely against teaching your children, because if your children know about these things, all of a sudden they're gonna become trans themselves. Even though they weren't born that way, all of a sudden, just by teaching them these things, they're going to convert somehow. I don't know. And we're gonna sign them up for gender reaffirming surgeries. Does that make sense to you? Does that make any sense to you? Anyway, she was at this parade, right? And there were signs that said, "Don't mess with our kids." All linking back to what I just explained to you, that movement, that anti-trans movement, right? And there were photos floating around on the co-op. So there's a homeschool co-op that her sister was a part of. And that homeschool co-op was the one marching in the parade. And her sister was a part of it, which is how Kristi all became intertwined in this. So there were photos on Instagram floating around. And Kristi's child, her son, and there's no hiding that it was her child, because this little boy, she doesn't show his face often. I think she showed it maybe once or twice, but this kid is like her twin, like a carbon copy of Kristi. So you know that's her child, right? So her child was in a couple of these photos. I don't know if Kristi herself, I think there were a couple of photos of Kristi too, like seated with these different people in the group. And even with the signs posted up around them. So people associated Kristi now with that agenda, with the whole "don't mess with our kids" movement, because the signs were in the parade that she was participating in, that she was standing behind, right? And she also was liking the Instagram photos with the different pictures of the parade, which her son was in, her sister was in, the different signage was in, and there were more signs than just the "don't mess with our kids." They were also wearing like certain t-shirts with certain slogans on it. And Kristi was under fire for that, all right? So a couple days after that parade, people were just going at Kristi like, "What the hell is this? Please tell us that you don't support this movement, like you're not a part of this, like you don't believe these things, do you?" And Kristi stayed mum, like completely silent on the whole situation. And people by right were asking her to make a statement, like come out and say something, because right now all we have are the photos, the signs that are being shown in a parade that you were participating in the group that you were a part of with your sister and your son and your husband. These signs were kind of dominating, and you haven't said anything. Mind you, you've built your platform on being an ally for LGBT. So, of course, a lot of her audience, a lot of her supporters are LGBT, because what happens when someone shows themselves as an ally? You're more likely to support them if you fall into that marginalized group, right? And Kristi has been vocal about humanitarian rights in the past, right? So she has all these supporters that are now questioning, like, where do you stand? Are you against us? Like, we need to know. And I don't see a problem with people questioning that. If it's somebody you support, like say I came out, right? Just giving an example, and said I'm anti-immigration and I'm anti-allowing migrants to come to the country, being a big ass hypocrite. And you guys are like, hold on, Tina, what the F is that about? Because you yourself are an immigrant, and there are certain immigrants, we're not even going to get into that, but there are certain immigrants that will come to this country, get their citizenship or their residency, and like throw everything behind them, lock the door, build a wall, like block anybody else from coming in. I'm here now. So, you know, it's all good that I'm here, but I don't want anybody else following behind me. There are people like that. But say that was me, right? Y'all would have been like, Tina, what? And quite frankly, if that came out and somebody was like questioning me out quick, fast, and quick, I'd have been like, no, sir, that's not me. Absolutely not. That is not me at all. So there would be no qualms. There would be no hesitation. Like, I would come out and totally like dispel that rumor, like, without question, right? So that was the expectation from Kristi's audience. Like, obviously this can't be true, right? Obviously she's gonna come out and denounce that, obviously. But she never did. She never did. And oh my God, there was such a backlash online, and she calls out Reddit specifically. But there was such a backlash against Kristi. She was losing subscribers. I'm just saying you kind of deserved it, but she was losing subscribers because, again, she wasn't taking a stand. She lost subscribers. She lost sponsorships because, one, people were reaching out to sponsors, and I don't think that's right. And we'll go through her video. I'm already giving you like too much of a background right now because she's going to say some things in her video and we're going to play it right through. But she lost subscribers. She lost sponsorships. Her videos have not been getting the views. Her channel has been kind of tanking since then. And to be fair, her channel was already tanking before that because she switched up her content, kind of like she did a flip. She started homesteading. She had a baby and she went into postpartum. So there was a lot of talk about her health. And I know she has these cluster headaches that she speaks about, but pain management and all those health concerns, she spoke about that a lot. She spoke about depression, anxiety a lot, and she stopped doing like the fun makeup content, which I'm not saying people should just stick to that type of content. If they pivot, they pivot, but don't expect it to automatically hit with your existing audience because they signed up for one thing and you flipped it and so don't expect them to stay on for whatever new content you're creating. But her channel was already dying up to that point. And there was also a situation back in 2023, I believe. Yes, I think it was 2023, where people found out that she was still following James Charles and supporting him. She was liking his photo. She was supporting the launch of his brand. And people also asked her to speak out about that. Like, unfollow him. What are you doing? Make a statement because you were so vocal about Colleen Ballinger, right? And that situation. So how come you're supporting James Charles? Like, the two don't connect. Like, you can't be one over here and then like it doesn't go together. So if you're against Colleen Ballinger, if you're speaking up against her, then you should be speaking up against James Charles too. Why are you following him? Why are you liking his photos? Like, what's going on? And Peter Mon, who's a drama channel, well, commentary, I don't know. Peter Mon is just a channel, okay? He talks about anything, right? So he made a couple of videos speaking about the situation with the James Charles situation in 2023, right? And he had spoken to her on the phone. They had a phone call and he goes through that in his own video. So I'm not even going to get into that yet. I'll get into that in a bit. But he spoke to her about the situation, gave her advice on how to address that situation. She never took that advice. She stayed mum. And she lost subscribers because of it, because Peter Mon spoke up about it. Other people were speaking about it. Reddit made posts about it because she was supporting James Charles. This is when influencers and different content creators were making a stance, right? James Charles is a predator. And he declared it himself that he was messaging minors and sending nudes to them. Like, why doesn't it click, right? But James Charles, people were, speaking up against him, and she sat there and ate her food. She sat there and did not, but she was like, I'm not talking about it. And she figured that, I'm guessing, she figured people would just forget about it and she would continue on like nothing happened. But she started losing subscribers since then. Again, the shift in her content started losing numbers again. And then this situation happened about a year later, that July 4th, last year, mind you, almost a year and a half ago. That's when this happened. And again, another situation that she wasn't speaking up against. So people were fed up and pissed off. And now, finally, she decided to give her response. Now, of all times, now. And I want to make something very clear that I don't think people have been acknowledging or really paying attention to. The timing is very, very perfect for this, all right? She has declared this at the end of the year in October, right? November is the peak of AdSense. I don't know if you guys know this, but as a content creator here on YouTube, November and December are your peak periods for content creation, for sponsorships, because that's when you make the majority of your money. There are new launches, makeup brands are pushing product, their Black Friday sales, the Sephora sale. This is when you make the most money on YouTube, not just through affiliate sales and links, but also through AdSense, because advertisers pay the most per 1,000 views during this season, all right? So it's kind of perfect how she lines up this video release with the peak of AdSense. Like, this is, again, the time you make the most money. People haven't really clocked that. So she made this video at a very apropos time, right? So she could gain those sponsorships back, gain those views back, gain those subscribers back, so she could make money this season, all right? That's not how it's going though, okay? It's backfiring like a bitch for her, and I have to talk about it. Oh my God. So, all right, let's get into it. I'm going to watch her video. Hold on, I need my AirPods. All right, hopefully I'm doing this right and we can record the sound. So I'm gonna pop the video up over here and play it for you while I watch it. So I wanna show you something first of all. So this is RawBeautyKristi's channel. She has 1.06 million subscribers. And her latest videos, the one that she's addressing the rumors, is at 101K views. Previously, she had a video, They're Trying to Silence Me, and you 38K. Her Hobbit-inspired merch collection, 5.2K. Ain't nobody watching that. That's kind of my views, right? Nobody watching me neither, child. Then some beginner videos, 13K, 22K, 26K. So she hasn't been getting a ton of views on any of her videos unless they're low-key controversial. Like the Time to Get Serious videos got 29K, one of her higher viewed videos. We Have to Be Better got 53K. Finally Making Changes, blah, 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 blah. But she's consistently around the 20-something K up to 30K views for the majority of her videos, which for 1 million subscribers is kind of low. Oh my God. It is. It's very low. But this has been consistent. So I'm going to scroll back. Let's see. 1 year ago, 30K, right? 1 year ago, still seeing those 30K views. She got 110K views on a medical diagnosis video, which makes sense. And then before that, she had the 2020 video, which was a 309. The overeating video, 161. She did a pyramid scheme video, which was 270. But even 2 years ago, her views weren't substantially high. She would have a hit here or there, but she wasn't having viral videos. Let's go even further back. All right, 4 years ago, she was getting that 250,000, 500,000, close to 1 million views, which makes sense, right? That's when she was at her peak. She was hitting it 5 years ago, 4 years ago. So she had become accustomed to that income and that financial status, right, of making that much money. And then it really fell off about 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So she hasn't been in a good spot for her channel for a while now. So I'm just saying, this isn't something new, but let's watch her videos. So wait, let's look at the thumbnail first. So it says, anti-LGBTQIA+, transphobic alt-right homeschool cult. Don't mess with our kids. In her thumbnail, finally addressing the rumors is the title of the video. Hold on. Let's not get into that yet. Let me see what her description box is saying. There's a summary. I'm not going to read the summary. Does she say anything in her? Yeah, her description just says, I'm addressing it once and for all. Okay, let me see what AI is saying, because AI be shady. AI says RawBeautyKristi directly addresses swirling online accusations. Girl, I can't even talk. The YouTuber details a series of events, including a July 4th parade that unexpectedly led to serious mischaracterizations. This personal account explains their delayed response and clarifies their position. It's so interesting that AI is using their pronouns. AI, you shady. The they them pronouns, even though she's anti. Anyway, let's watch the video. All right, so popping it up over here. All right, I'm gonna play this back at 1.5 speed, right, just so we're not here all day. So let's go.
Hello, I'm a reporter working on a piece about conservative social media content aimed at women and girls. I'm focusing on how various beauty YouTube influencers have become associated with what some people would call alt-right pipelines, content that falls into an algorithmic pathway that can lead to more extreme conservative views. Kristi is mentioned as one example of a beauty guru who has been scrutinized for posting so-called crunchy content about things like homeschooling and homesteading, two genres that extremism researchers have identified as potential entry points to alt-right pipelines. It also notes that online sleuths linked an anti-public school, religious, fundamentalist mission statement to the homeschooling co-op Kristi shared content about. Please let me know if you have any questions. I have so many questions. Do you understand that the world does not revolve around you, and you do whatever it takes, ruin as many people's lives as you can, just so long as you can make a name for yourself as an investigatory journalist, no matter how many friends you lose or people you leave dead and bloody and dying along the way, just so long as you can make a name for yourself as an investigatory journalist, no matter how many friends you lose or people you leave dead and bloody and dying along the way. Picture this. I'm at a 4th of July parade. I'm having fun with my kid. We're walking.
Hold. First of all, why she's why she's so dramatic in the intro to this? What is she talking about? First of all, so she's saying a journalist reached out to her saying that they're doing an article. Okay, this is why she's doing the video with their little quotes. This is why she's doing the video, because a journalist reached out to her, mentioned that, hey, they're doing this article about, crunchy content creators. Creators, there's this alt-right pipeline. It starts out with people being very religious, very Christian, it's pro-life, then they become anti-vax because what's in our food, we're gonna start doing homesteading, we're gonna live off the grid, grow our own food, we're gonna go very natural, vegan, right? Some of them go very vegan because they don't believe in the toxic agenda of the government, which, to be fair, okay, this food is very toxic in this country, all right? Because it's pro-profits and capitalism, so they take shortcuts and we have very bad food in our country. Anyway, that's neither here nor there, because I'm not crunchy, okay? But that's what the crunchy thing is. It's like very vegan, very all natural, very purist when it comes to their food. And it translates again to this alt-right pipelines. It's like they gradually move towards these alt-right beliefs. And alt-right is like far right, right? You're very Republican, you're anti-immigration, anti-LGBT, pro-life, like God first, like God should be a part of our government system, which, where's the separation of God and state? But anyway, it's very God first, like we should ban abortion, we should take away any reproductive rights from women, life begins at conception, that kind of thing. So it moves from, I'm being Christian, which nothing is wrong with that, have your beliefs, enjoy your religion, applause, good for you. But then why does it become this alt-right, no one should have any rights but us Christians? Like that's really what it amounts to. So anyway, the reporter apparently is reached out to her because she has fallen under this category now, because again, her views that they have seen, she hasn't spoken up and denounced anything. So the assumption is she believes in the don't mess with our kids movement. All right. So, but that whole beginning, what the hell was that? Like, all right, let's go.
Throwing candy. He has a little bit of a fit because candy's over with. A few days later, I get a DM from a subscriber and she's like, hey, you're being canceled. And I'm like, oh my God, again? And so I go and look up what I'm being canceled for, and lo and behold, I am now the president, the CEO.
Hold. I have something to say. You know how in content creators and YouTubers apology videos, they come in with the gray hoodie, right? Very basic or no makeup, very plain background to show that they're not ostentatious, they're not overly rich, like they're trying to be relatable. And you know that thing, the gray hoodie apology? She is in merch. This is the merch, all right? This is the merch that she just did a video about. So she is already promoting her merch. She's like, come buy my merch. Her hat says, You're not my real dad. It's something that she always says. So now she's selling a hat. And I want y'all to notice, look at what she's wearing as jewelry. And I kind of want to go back, and I'll check this later, but has she ever worn that cross as a necklace? I just saw the cross now. Very Christian, right? She's letting you know, God first, people, God first. Let me see what my necklace is. Jeez. Oh, I have a little pebble necklace on. My God. So anyway, she very subtle like cues, okay? She is giving you hints. And the cross, mind you, usually if you have a pendant on, a lot of times it will end up in your t-shirt because this is a high neck t-shirt. But she made sure it's very obvious that it's a cross. All right, let's continue.
If you will, of an alt-right, anti-LGBTQ, Proud Boy Nazi homeschool cult. And I didn't even have to apply. I just became CEO for things I wasn't even aware of. But I became aware. I became well aware over the next few months of my life. It was a time. It was a time to be me, to be criticized on podcasts, drama channels, TikTok, of being a right-wing fundamentalist Christian anti-LGBTQ homeschool cult leader. You know, I just gotta say, it was
maybe I was just on the outskirts a little bit too much, but I don't think I was because, well, I maybe was because I wasn't really like on Reddit reading all the posts, but did anybody say she was a cult leader? Like, I feel like she is exaggerating the facts to make it seem so absurd to you, her viewer, if you weren't aware of any of this, if you were tangential at all to like the whole situation, maybe you would believe her that it was this extreme. But as far as I know, the statements were never that extreme that she was a cult leader. People are just like, she believes this. She supports this movement. You are not the creator of the movement. Anyone can tell that. Like, no one is saying you're the CEO. You're not Jaclyn Hill. Like, relax. No one was saying that. People were just like, you support the movement and we want you to denounce it. Anyway.
harrowing, if nothing else. I can laugh about this now. Sure wasn't funny a year ago. Now it's just one of the most ridiculous. Like, when looking back on it, I can sit here and be like, dude, this is the most wild, fabricated, made up, bizarre, twisted fiction novel. It's like I never could have imagined it getting this far, and yet I'm right in the center of it, and they're still writing articles about it a year later. And so I'm gonna set the record straight in today's video. I'm gonna set the record fully and clearly straight so that you guys can know without a shadow of a doubt where I stand on all of this and why I have not responded until now. Let me explain to you first what actually happened so I can set the scene of how this actually went.
So, do you notice how she's like, I'm coming out and I'm speaking about this now because there's an article coming out? I don't think, and I said this earlier in the video, I don't think this has anything to do with this article. Maybe it triggered like a response, but I don't think that's the primary reason. I really think it's because Vlogmas, AdSense Palooza, holiday shopping, all that's going to happen right now. So she's trying to circumvent certain situations. So she's trying to address something now so she can gain back subscribers, followers, and what are those? Sponsors. That's what I think that is, right? And why has it taken you over a year to make this statement? It makes no sense, but she's going to explain to us why it's taken her so long. Let's see what she does. Hi, Mama. Oh, my baby just came back. She went for a walk so I can film.
Anyway, let's go. How you can understand how I was absolutely blindsided by these really, really sane accusations that come from a place of absolute reality. July 4th, 2024. We decided to go to our local small town parade. It's a tiny little parade that they do every year for the 4th of July. I've been to it every year since I was born, essentially. And it's just a little parade with fire trucks and ponies and candy tossing. I did it before I had a kid. I'm doing it now. It's just pretty darling. My sister was a part of a homeschool co-op, and their little homeschool co-op was doing a float in the parade. After being canceled and absolutely being dragged over the hot coals for this, I realized that people don't really know what a homeschool co-op is. So I'm just going to give you the brief definition of what it is so you can understand real quick that they're normal, and this isn't the only one, contrary to popular belief about me. A homeschool co-op is basically when a bunch of parents get together and homeschool their kids together. There isn't like a set teacher. There isn't a set type of person that goes to a homeschool co-op. It's just people that want to homeschool their kids, but they don't want to do it alone in their home. So they go to a place and they do it together. Sometimes there's like Montessori ones. Sometimes there's Waldorf school ones. Sometimes there's just Christian homeschool co-ops, atheist homeschool. It doesn't matter. It's a little mishmash. That's what a homeschool co-op is. Just setting the stage so you understand what's about to come up. My sister was working with this little homeschool co-op and they were running it out of their little church. And the church had to move.
Hold on. Does she think her audience are filled with idiots? Does she think we're idiots? I don't know, because she's trying to explain to us what a homeschool co-op is, because that was one of the things that were called into question, that she was homeschooling her child, that she had a homeschool co-op hosted on her property, which we'll get into because she mentions this. But does she think we're idiots? I really, like, she had to explain what a co-op, a homeschool co-op is. I mean, we could Google it. It's really not that serious. Homeschooling means you're schooling your kids from home, okay? Essentially, in a nutshell, it's that simple. And if you're doing a co-op, obviously you're coming together. It's a corporation, so you're coming together with other homeschool parents, right? And you're doing it together. It's really not that complicated. We didn't need that explanation anyway.
So the little homeschool co-op had nowhere to have their schooling because the church was no longer going to be open while they were switching buildings. They had nowhere to go. And my niece was part of the homeschool co-op. And so I was like, well, if you guys can't find a place, if you don't find anywhere that's free, you guys are welcome to use my gazebo. I have a gazebo outside. We've done harvest parties in it. I've had a wedding in it. We do stuff in it all the time. Like, it's the place where we host events. They needed a place that was free. Nowhere else was free. So they came to my gazebo and we made it out of like a little forest school. Now, there's a big misconception going around that, number one, I was building a school on my property, which is what a lot of people said, that I was building an anti-LGBTQ homeschool. We'll get to that in a minute. That I was the leader of a homeschool. But I need to just say one thing. My kid doesn't go to school yet. He's this many. So it was just me letting my sister use a building for the homeschool co-op. The only way I contributed to this homeschool co-op is, number one, allowing it to be out in my gazebo, and it was absolutely darling. I just have to say, these kids are so cute. And getting a porta potty for them so that they had a place to go to the bathroom so they didn't have to come in and out all day. So they were here for like May and half of April. And that was pretty much it. And the school like ended in June. And that was it.
So she's saying, all right, that there are misconceptions, which you could have easily just said that, all right? First, she's saying that she was the leader of the homeschool, that people thought that. And I think there were people that thought she was heading the homeschool, which I didn't think that. I knew it was her sister that was a part of it. I knew it was her, because she stated this on Instagram. She's made declarations for it. But the thing about it is, all right, is that she has always said she wanted, I don't know, like, if this changed, but she said she wanted to homeschool her child all along. So I don't think it's far-fetched for people to think that she was a part of the homeschool herself, beyond her sister's involvement and her niece's involvement, right? And then she had also mentioned that she was building a structure, building something for her sister. So for people to assume that it was the homeschool, I mean, that's, again, not far-fetched. And from her post, it's not out of the realm of ideas that maybe she's building a homeschool on her property, because she's mentioned building other structures on her property for her sister and so on. So I don't know that, people thinking that was that out of line at all. But she says this happened in April and half of May, right? So it ended before the parade. So this whole homeschool was done for, mind you, in June. So she said the church was moving buildings, so they wouldn't have a place to stay. So she said, come stay in my gazebo. She in this fucking gazebo. I swear to God, it's the perfect thing. So she spent all her sponsorship money on this gazebo. So come stay at the gazebo. So they were at the gazebo. She offered them like, hey, come, I'll host it here. You can stay here. It's free. I'll get a porta potty. The kids can be cute, whatever. And she's she's making sure y'all know that her kid wasn't at the school. He's 4, so he's too young to be at school. I don't know. Don't kids go to preschool at like 2.5? I don't know, but can't you go to preschool at 2.5? And then if you have a homeschool on your property with a bunch of kids, right? Wouldn't you then assume that her kid would kind of play with the other kids? I'm just saying, if there is a homeschool on my property, right? I don't have like a property, but if there's a homeschool on my property and there are a bunch of kids, then my kid would want to participate, just like how your kid, which she's going to get into later, her kid wanted to participate in the parade and be a part of the marching and the float and whatever, because there are kids around. That's just the nature of kids. They want to play with other kids. So I'm sure your kid was interacting with the other kids. So it's not like he was separate and apart. He was locked up in the house while they were homeschooling. No, they weren't. All right, let's continue.
And it was just darling. I can't stress it enough. It's so cute.
Darling.
Fast forward,
It's so
4th of July,
darling.
we're going to our little hometown parade. We're having a good old time. My son sees that his auntie is there, and auntie has
Good
something
old
he loves.
time.
Candy.
You and us
And
Southern.
she's throwing the candy in the parade. So he was like, can I do that with her? And I was like, yeah, sure, of course. Who cares? Like, I couldn't care less. We showed up to the parade in his Avengers t-shirt. The little homeschool co-op that had a float in the parade had a bunch of extra t-shirts that they had made for the kids, and he wanted to look like the other kids in the parade, so he put on one of the t-shirts. I know it sounds like this is really sinister, but sometimes things just are this simple. He tosses on one of the little t-shirts, and it was a really hateful t-shirt. It was super hateful. It said joy, peace, and righteousness. It was evil. And
Don't forget
he threw
the
candy for all
Romans
of 7 minutes
14:1.
in the parade. Zach put him up on his shoulders. He tossed candy, mostly ate the candy. And then when it was time to keep walking, he had an absolute meltdown, sobbed his face off, and we left. We'll get you some.
We'll get some, dude. Don't worry.
It's okay, baby. Mommy's here. Gave him a nap. He was tired. And then went to the carnival and had a really lovely rest of the day. And that is the day that I formed a cult, and everything changed that day because I became a cult leader. It was a sight to behold. So I get home, everything's fine.
You did not become a cult leader. Like, why are you exaggerating? Like I said, she's exaggerating, so whoever is left supporting her will see this as just completely ridiculous, right? If you exaggerate something to the point of ridiculousness, people are gonna be like, yeah, like, what the hell was that? What are they talking about? Because you've exaggerated it. This is not what people were saying. No one said you were the cult leader of this pack. People are like, you support them. Anyway, I'm jumping in right now while I'm editing because I forgot to mention in the heat of the moment, literally, that this is what's called a straw man argument, where you exaggerate or you misrepresent an argument. So it makes it easier to attack, which is exactly what she's doing. She's exaggerating the whole situation. So again, it makes it easier for her audience and her supporters to be like, oh, that's so ridiculous. That's so stupid. That's exactly what she's doing right here.
The next few days are all good. And then I get a DM from one of my followers saying, hey, there's a post about you on Reddit. I don't know if it's true, but it looks pretty bad. And I was like, holy shit, what did I do this time? Just blown away at the accuracy of this post. I mean, they couldn't have been more accurate. They really nailed me. They really got me. They got my whole personality in one post. I'm just evil, a liar, and a cult leader. And so I thought today I would tell you how I became those things. What happened was the homeschool co-op that was walking in the parade, apparently one of the moms had a sign of an organization that I apparently run, that I had never heard of, called Don't Mess With Our Kids. So the sign apparently that she was holding said, don't mess with our kids. And she was walking in front of the parade. We were walking in the back. And that's how it happened. That's the moment. That's the moment I became a transphobic cult leader. And it's a simple way to get a job. It's a simple way, but a very effective way. And so what actually happened was that
The sarcasm. Y'all, the sarcasm and the snarkiness, she is so pissed that she even has to make this video. She is, and it's a year and a half later, mind you, although I'm sure she's been getting the aftermath for a while, but she is so pissed. She is so angry, and you can just see it radiating off of her. She is, she's being sarcastic, she's being snarky, she wants to tell y'all to go fuck yourselves so bad. Oh my God. Anyway.
what happened? So I didn't see the sign or know anything about it, but I did. And
You didn't see the sign. All right. I'm going to buy it. Say you didn't see the sign. All right. It's in front of you. She said the woman that was holding it was in front of her. She was in the back. She ain't see the sign. All right. But the pictures that you were liking on Instagram has the pictures of the sign. The t-shirt that your son was wearing may have said joy, peace, whatever. And like the Romans, the Bible verse quote. And there were other signs too that were very her movement related. So it's not just one sign, but there were multiple signs alluding to the don't mess with our kids movement. So let me hear what she has to say.
No, I've never heard of this organization before, and that's that. So the mom that chose to hold the sign, that was her belief, obviously. It's not the school that did it. It's not that the homeschool co-op all has the same beliefs. I need you to know some things. Some of the moms that came to the homeschool co-op, you could call charismatic Christians. Some of them hold signs like don't mess with our kids. Some of them do tarot and don't even believe in Jesus. They just come to the homeschool co-op, which was, I would call a Christian homeschool co-op, but some people just like their kids to be in that setting. I don't make the rules, okay? But some of them had signs that said hope is here, and some of them had signs that said don't mess with our kids. I didn't see the sign. Reddit raked me over the coals, so to speak. And oh man, they really did. Not just Reddit, multiple podcasts. I mean, it was everywhere. People writing articles about.
Hold on. I would stand by. So she says that she didn't see the sign one. She didn't know about this movement at all. It's new to her, right? So she doesn't know what this movement means. And she also said there are moms in the co-op that do tarot, which I don't know what that has to do with anything, but she says, oh, they do tarot. So does that mean that they're not Christian? Because I know there are Christians that do tarot. I don't know, like they're Christians that people period are multifaceted. Okay, they don't have to be one way or the other. So they could still be very Christian, but like to do tarot. I don't know. But you said they're all participating in this Christian co-op. You don't know why, just because. Just because. Now, this isn't just like a Christian co-op, okay? This has very clear beliefs, and I'm going to read what the statement is for their co-op. All right, so there's a picture on the Christian co-op's Instagram page. I believe it's the Upper Room Academy. First of all, Upper Room Academy. It says, we're so thankful for a beautiful first year together at Upper Room. We can't wait to be all settled into our new location in the fall. Praying everyone has an amazing summer break. So this looks like it was taken at Kristi's little gazebo. There's her sister. I'm going to blur the faces because these are innocent kids, right? But there's her sister. It looks like her. And I think that may be her son there. But it's a picture from their little co-op, right? Here's a post from RawBeautyKristi that says that she is considering homeschooling her child. So again, not far-fetched. It says, have you decided on homeschooling or not? She says, yes, we will be homeschooling with a homeschool co-op. Not far-fetched to believe she was a part of this, right? So then on the Upper Room website, it says here who we are, right? We see Upper Room Family Learning Cooperative as a lighthouse for this fallen world. Coded language right there. A place of rescue from the darkness and perverseness of the broken public school system. This is very coded wording, mind you. Listen carefully. The mission is to provide a safe place for children to learn and grow in their relationship with God. Building up a community of homeschoolers who are taking back their identities in Christ Jesus. We pray to be a seed-planted corporation for the kingdom of heaven. We are also here to inform and equip other churches and or communities how to off-plant a school in your own area. The Lord told us we would be a blueprint for more schools to come. We have faith and are walking boldly with the word of our Father in our hearts. Do y'all see the coded language? Are you hearing this? Like, are we? Anyway, then, oh my God, my little munch. So, very coded language, just, all right? It's already given alt-right pipeline, all right? So, she posts, let me read some of these. The comment, she says, it's really sad to see what you and your channel have become and to think I enjoyed your content at one point. Big yikes. Now, to be fair, this comment could be for anything else, all right? Maybe you should be working on being a bigot before working on weight loss. Honestly, I didn't think you were such a garbage. Okay, that's a little bit aggressive, but all right.
On TikTok calling me a proud boy youth leader. That was a new one. And all I did actually was allow kids to not have a place to have their school and walk in a parade where an autonomous human being held a sign in front of me that I'm now being attributed to. I didn't see the sign. I didn't know about the sign. There is, interestingly, this theory going around that my son was holding the sign and that this was an anti-LGBTQ hate rally. I need you to understand the lengths at which this web of lies has gone to. It has gone to a point where instead of walking in a 4th of July parade throwing candy with my kid, what actually happened is I was indoctrinating my son into a hate rally. There was not only not a hate rally, it was a 4th of July parade, and he just wanted candy because he was this many. That is what I am guilty of. I'm here to set the record straight today that everything you heard about me is just so true, you guys. I am this evil gay hater that you think I am. And if you couldn't sense the sarcasm in my voice, no, I'm not. This is the most ridiculous, baseless thing that I have ever been associated with.
Now, you see how she acknowledges that she's being sarcastic? So she knows. It's not like I'm just talking and I didn't realize how I'm coming off. She obviously knows she's being sarcastic and she's like, oh no, I'm not. Why did it take you half the video to get to the point where you're saying, no, I'm not? And I don't hear you outright saying or supporting the community that has supported you all these years. Let me continue because I can't.
I've been canceled before for dumber shit, but this was like really.
She's been canceled before for dumber shit. For dumber shit. So the shit is dumber. So she's saying that the reasons that she was canceled before which again, she's broad brushing the stuff. It's like, you're not being canceled. You're being held accountable, being asked to make a statement. It's not a cancellation. But she's saying, I've been canceled before. Mind you, one of the cancellations, all right, that she's referring to is when she dressed up as a geisha, a Japanese tradition, mind you, right? She was called out for cultural appropriation for posting that photo, and she doubled down. Did y'all see the response? I remember seeing this response. I was like, ooh, she called people all kinds of cunts. Okay, see you next Tuesday. She was so mad at y'all when y'all called her out for that. She was like, I don't care. Like, I'm a makeup artist. This is not cultural appropriation. I am just replicating makeup. People are telling you, like, people that are affected by this, people that's their tradition, that's their culture, are telling you that it's disrespectful for you to wear their cultural traditions as a costume. I'm sorry, isn't that pretty straightforward? Just like for, I don't want to get this term wrong. You know, the day after Halloween, which is called the Day of the Dead, or Dia de los Muertos, which is celebrated in Mexico, where they honor deceased children and deceased adults. So they're honoring their family and friends that have passed on. And there are certain costumes and makeup and masks that they wear. That is beautiful, by the way. It's like a skull that's decorated with flowers and like really colorful. It's stunning. But that's a part of their tradition. And people will dress up as that for Halloween. And they very outright say, hey, this is a part of our tradition. We don't want you to wear our tradition and our culture as a costume. It's not a costume. Like, it's revered for us. It's a very celebrated and honored tradition that we don't want you to make a costume out of, right? Pretty straightforward. I've always been inspired by those looks. I've been so like tempted to recreate it, but I respect that that's a part of their tradition and they don't want us to wear it as a costume. It's not a costume, right? It's a part of their heritage. So I'm like, all right, like, it's off base for me to even consider doing that. So if someone tells you in their culture, this is a respected tradition and we don't want you to respect it. It's like, it's not that hard. So dressing up as a geisha, dressing up for the All Saints Day, the Day of the Dead, like dressing up like that, just don't do it. Just don't do it. So when people said to RawBeautyKristi, hey, just a heads up, you might not want to do this, she doubled down, girl. She was like, y'all better leave me alone and mind your business because you're a cunt. I mean, she didn't say exactly that, but she was pretty much saying y'all are cunts. Shut up. She is just a makeup artist and y'all are going to respect her artistry. So that was one of her cancellations. Dumber shit, right? Yes. Let me continue.
And you may wonder, well, why didn't you just come out and say it wasn't true if it wasn't true? Because you really let the narrative spin, obviously. Like, you could have just kind of put a pause on it. You could have said, hey, this isn't true. And we would have believed you. Would you? Studies have shown that any time an influencer comes out and says, hey, I'm innocent, you guys definitely give them the benefit of the doubt. You really do. You give them the benefit of the doubt. You give them a lot of grace and understanding. That's usually what happens during cancellations. No, what actually happens is that you eviscerate them and say, you're just trying to save face. I ain't dumb. Okay, I know how this whole thing works.
Do you know how this whole thing works? First of all, who is you that she talking about? Because she ain't talking to me. Who is she talking to? She talking to you? Because she ain't talking to me. Who is this you? This broad brush you. She is saying that she knows how this stuff works. So would you have believed her if she came out and said something right out the gate? We'll never know. Now, will we? Because you didn't do that. You didn't do that. And if you're using your previous cancellations as any evidence of how people like react to responses, please don't, because you cuss people out and call people cunts, all kinds of names for calling you out in the first place. So people are well within their right to tell you to go fuck yourself because like your response was nasty. So if they responded in kind, So she is pretty much saying, why would she respond when y'all wouldn't have believed her anyway? It took her over a year for her to come out. But anyway, let's see what she has to say.
But it wasn't just that, was it? It wasn't the only reason I didn't respond. The main reason I didn't respond is because without my response, you guys were being psychotic. Maybe not you watching this, but maybe you watching this. I don't know. All I know is that the families of the home.
The you. Oh, she talk to you. Nah, you. And she's about to start yelling.
School co-op who have no idea that I'm a social media influencer, who had no idea that they were coming to the home of a YouTuber who was going to get canceled for being anti-LGBTQ. They were being harassed by you. Their families being contacted by you. Fake homeschool applications being submitted by you. Signing up my sister and some of the other homeschool moms for gender reassignment surgery and having them getting phone calls. Doxing, reaching out to family members and people that used to know me. The reason I maybe didn't respond until now was because the school is not a thing anymore. And finally, I don't have to really worry about the families being harassed by you anymore. So yeah, the reason I didn't respond was not because I didn't want to clear my name or because any of the allegations are true. You can't even imagine what it's like to have hundreds of thousands of people loathe your existence because you've been called the worst things that you can be called. It's because
you can't even imagine. This bitch said you can't even imagine. Imagine all the transgender people. Imagine all the LGBT people. Imagine how they feel. Imagine how they feel to have millions of people, okay, not hundreds of thousands, millions of people just to test their very existence. I could never imagine. Oh my God, I could never imagine. Imagine immigrants being hated just for existing. Imagine that. Oh my, you can't imagine being called the worst names possible. Imagine. Oh my God. You can't imagine, sweetheart. You can't imagine. Oh my God. So she's saying the reason she didn't speak out, which I don't condone any of this, all right? If people were truly, which I don't doubt that was happening, that people were probably doxing, you know, people that were a part of the homeschool, because that's how the internet tends to react, okay? So I don't doubt that she's saying that in truth and in fact was happening. And people were reaching out to the homeschool. Yeah, okay, it was a public homeschool. That makes sense, you know. People were signing people. Why did she make that specific statement that people were being signed up for gender reassignment surgery? It's very coded, right? You see how she's like, dog whistle, dog whistle. Hey, by the way, just know that gender reassignment was happening. Like, child. But the primary reason she didn't say anything was because these people were being harassed. Don't you think? Because if that's your primary reason, it's a stupid ass reason. And I'm going to say this, okay? If you'd come out, God don't like ugly. You see I'm choking? But if you had come out when this whole thing happened, all right, a few days later, maybe even a couple of weeks, even maybe a month, like people would have given you grace. But if you'd come out and said, listen, people are being harassed. I don't appreciate that. Don't do that. Don't harass people. Don't dox people. These people are private citizens. They don't deserve any of this. I don't hold the same views as whatever was said in that with the signage, right? I am an ally. I support LGBT. Like, you guys are safe with me. This is a safe space, which is what a lot of people thought, right? I'm not a part of the community, so I'm not going to speak for them necessarily. But I feel like people have made the comment that Kristi was a safe space, right? They felt like they were welcomed because that's how she portrayed herself, as a welcoming ally to LGBT. So for people to be offended, hurt by her not saying anything is legitimate. Like, it's valid, because all she needed to do was come out. It wouldn't even have to be a long-winded video. It wouldn't even have to be a video. It could have just been an Instagram post. It could have been a notes app. Like, you could have just come on Instagram Live. You could have just made a video on Instagram and say, listen, guys, I see the posts that are going around. This was sent to me, and I want to make this very clear to you right now. I am not anti-trans. I am not anti-LGBT. I am fully in support of everyone having equal rights. She could have just said, I support you guys. This is a safe space. None of those beliefs, I don't hold any of those beliefs at all. And I want to make that very clear. I want to make that very clear. It would have been that simple, like literally that simple. But she never did that because people were doxing other people. You know what could have helped that from happening? Because you just let the narrative run. And it kept getting progressively more intense and crazier because you didn't speak out about it. So of course it ramped up, right? All right, continue. Oh my God, jumping in again because I forgot to mention this very key point. She took so long to make a response to her audience who felt hurt by her non-action and her non-response to their questions about how she felt about LGBT rights. But she was so quick to jump on, do a video, record, edit, and upload within a day of Charlie Kirk's passing. She made a video talking about how people were celebrating his death, and we're not even gonna get into that. She jumped on so fast, like literally within 48 hours, she made a video response, like cursing people out and telling them to stop being so evil against Charlie Kirk, who, mind you, was a very hateful person who made so many hateful statements and incited so much hate to his followers. You jumped on within 24 hours, 48 hours to make a statement about that and telling people how they're so wrong about applauding his death and celebrating his death, and people are so unkind and so terrible. But you took a year and a half to respond to your audience that was asking you just to make your stance clear against where you stand when it comes to LGBT rights? Girl, make it make sense.
The families were unsafe because the internet is a cesspool of psychotic, chronically online, drama-addicted weirdos. And so, no, I wasn't going to respond and make it bigger. Weirdly, when you have an accusation that is so bad and so life-ruining out there, the last thing you want to do is bring more attention to it. And I allowed the accusations to go so that I could protect these families from the absolute onslaught of harassment they were already receiving. And I allowed the narrative to be spun about me that I was all these most horrific things that you guys could attribute to my name so that these kids would no longer be harassed. I had people in estranged family members coming out saying that they wanted to talk to drama channels. I was being sent screenshots left and right of psycho estranged family members messaging drama channels. If you know nothing, know this. I do not stand with Don't Mess With Our...
Hold on. I want to address this because she's painting herself as a martyr, as a victim. Do you see it? She was sacrificing herself, her reputation, to protect these parents and these kids. That's what she's saying. She sacrificing herself, her reputation for that. Okay.
Kids. I literally didn't even know who they were before I was accused of pretty much running the organization. I don't have anything to do with them. I didn't hold a sign. My kid didn't hold a sign. There was no hate march. It was a 4th of July parade. All the posts you've seen are the most inflammatory, psychotic thing that you've ever seen. I have never and will never be anything hateful to anybody in the LGBTQIA plus community. I've been nothing but supportive and an ally to the trans community, to the gay community. Some of my best friends are gay. My sister's a lesbian. For God's sake.
She just pulled out my friend. I have black friends. Oh my God, she just pulled that out. Oh my God. This woman, I swear to God. So all that she said up to now was, she could have just said that in that condensed, I'm not this, the sign, I had nothing to do with it. I didn't even know that it existed. I didn't even know who this organization was until now. I read up on it and I'm completely against it. She has not come out. Mind you, she's here saying, which clock it again, she's saying she's not that, but she has not denounced the movement or the group at all. You notice that? She's saying, I am not against this, but you have not denounced that group. You have not come out and said, I don't support this group at all. Cut it out. Nothing anywhere.
Have a little bit of critical thinking skills. And I know it can come off angry and that's not a good look, but you have to understand,
so you know you're angry right now, and you're telling people to have some critical thinking. It's critical thinking that led us to this, right? People are seeing the evidence. People are hearing your silence loudly, and people just assumed that you're not speaking out or denouncing this. So you've talked about homeschooling. You have really gone crunchy. You're homeschooling, homesteading. You kind of spoke out about medical treatments. You kind of alluded to being anti-vax. Maybe people were going down the list and saying, it's given all right. It's given she may actually believe this. And since she's not speaking up against it, maybe. Y'all think I'm glowing right now? I am sweating. It's so hot. Oh my God, but I can't turn the AC on because it's going to make noise. But anyway.
Because you saw it on the internet does not make it true. And I now have realized after this happened, which I'm thankful this happened actually. I'm thankful in so many ways, and I'll get into that in a second, because I learned through this
She's
that
so
if I
angry
see it
right
online,
now. It's
probably not
ramping
true.
up.
And use discernment, and don't just immediately jump to conclusions. All of this was so baseless. Every new accusation that came out about me, I was like, what next? What other organization do I run? What other people do I hate? What other group do I hate?
Nobody
What are they
said
gonna call
you
me
were
next?
running it.
I've been called all the things that you call people, and you guys believed it. And you not only believed it, but you wouldn't have listened to me had I said it. Drama channels, you guys don't understand. You're being manipulated. They are not telling the truth. And they're going to take this and they're going to be like, well, then you tell me the truth. No, we don't negotiate with terrorists. They sit around and they rile up the crowd and they get everybody pissed and they make the situation something that it never was. They start spinning a web of narrative that doesn't exist. And it's not just drama channels. I'm having an article written about how I'm a homeschool, homestead, alt-right pipeline. I am not alt-right. But you said I was. You aligned me with it. I didn't align myself with it. You aligned me with it. You aligned me with it when you accused me of being it. You're straight up falling into this trap, the trap of left versus right, the trap of having to pick a side, the trap of enjoying homesteading, now being associated with being an alt-right Proud Boy youth Nazi leader. Hello? What are you even saying? No, I didn't respond to that because you wouldn't have believed me if I said you won't even believe me now. It's a pointless, absolute ridiculous endeavor to try to convince a group of people that can't be convinced. It's like trying to reason with...
I'm sorry. Hold on. You see how angry she's getting, and she's like yelling right now because she's getting really worked up. She is so mad because no one said she's a Proud Boy leader. Who said that? Who said that, Christiana? Who said this? No one said that. And you notice again, she is using these little dog whistle terms, right? Of the alt-right movement, mind you, of MAGA, all right? She is using these statements like, we don't negotiate with terrorists. We don't negotiate with terrorists. And I'll get into it a little bit more. But in her comments, she also mentioned woke mob. It's a dog whistle to alt-right supporters. Like, you're literally feeding right into it and then telling me that you're not. So you're going to slap me in the face and tell me, no, that was a kiss. Do I look stupid to you? And then you're telling us to be discerning. We're not going to believe. This is discernment. Who are you talking to? First of all, you did. You're so crazy. Like, how dare...
Reasonable. You can't reason with unreasonable. And if you believe all this shit, you're unreasonable. It's not real. You're being lied to. You're being manipulated. And you like it. Drama channels, man, they might be fun to watch. I get it. I used to watch people too, until that same drama channel got me on the phone and manipulated the entire conversation, took everything I said, straight up lied. Everything lie. And so now I know from back end what I said, and I hear how it comes out, and I go, oh, so it's all been a lie. So it's all been manipulated. From the get-go. It's so shisty. It's so...
She wanted to say shitty so bad. So here's the thing. Remember how I said Peter Mon, who's the drama channel that she's referring to, but she doesn't say it outright. But he's who she's referring to, okay? She's saying that he manipulated their conversation. He got her on the phone and manipulated the conversation. Now, I follow Peter Mon and his nonsense, okay? I don't believe or stand with everything he says. He's gone crazy and off the rails sometimes his own damn self because he was being harassed. So, Peter Mon has his things to him, right? But Peter Mon was very clear from the jump, and his story has never changed this whole time. RawBeautyKristi reached out to him when the James Charles situation went down because he made a video about it. Because he was one of the channels that called out people that were still supporting James Charles. When this whole thing with James Charles was happening, he went in and checked who he follows, right? That still supports James Charles, or who he supports that still supports James Charles. And when he went through the list of followers, you know how you can see followers in comment or whatever, or you can see like the high subscriber profiles as the list of followers on somebody else's account. So he saw that RawBeautyKristi was one of the followers of James Charles, and then people were sending him screenshots of her liking posts from James Charles. So he was calling out other people who were predator protectors, pretty much is what the term was. He didn't coin it, but he used it a lot in his videos, right? He was calling out different people, and it saddened him to have to call out RawBeautyKristi because he really liked RawBeautyKristi, really supported her, and so it hurt him to have to do that. So she reached out to him in DMs and was like, hey, can I call you and talk about this? So she called him quick summary, you can go watch his video, see what he said, but she called him, reached out to him, asked him for his number, can we FaceTime, whatever. He said, sure, whatever, you can call me, here's my number. She called him, got him on the phone, not the other way around, and asked him, like, what do you think I should do with the James Charles situation? James Charles situation. This had nothing to do with this alt-right movement business, all right? Nothing to do with this parade. Nothing to do with no mess with our kids. This was James Charles. That was the conversation they had. But she's making it seem like she had a conversation with him. He got her on the phone after the fact. But he had, like, broken ties with Kristi from the James Charles situation, because he's like, how can I be calling out everybody else and not also saying the same thing about people that I support, right? And it's hard when you have friends that support things you don't support, and now you have to make a decision. Like, you got to call it. You got to be like, I'm calling out everybody else. I got to call out my friend too. And he called her out, and she didn't take his advice. He was like, just come out and say like you didn't know what was going on, because her declaration was she didn't know anything about the James Charles situation. So, she didn't know he was a predator all this time. You're in the beauty community and you ain't, shut up. Because you spoke out about Colleen Ballinger. You've spoken about other things, other drama situations in the beauty community. But somehow this James Charles situation just went completely over your head. Who are you lying to? What? And I know she had things going on at the time. Fine. I get it. Like, you were immersed in other things. But to be fair, you were aware of every other thing, so why weren't you aware of this one, which was a big thing? It wasn't even like it was a little thing that could have been overlooked. It was a big thing, and you somehow didn't know. You didn't know. You a liar. And then you're saying Peter Mon manipulated the conversation, and drama channels are so manipulative. Drama channels, yes, they exaggerate. They do rage bait. They do clickbait. They, like, they're going to make the headlines so you watch. They're very drama, right? Drama brings the views. I know that. She knows that. She's done videos about drama. You think her most viewed video, the Jacqueline Hill video, was full of drama? Why do you think she got so many views and so many subscribers? How do you think she made it to 1 million subscribers? Because she leaned into the drama. And when the narrative doesn't fit you, now you want to be like, oh, I'm above it all. You're not above it all, because I'm going to show you this too. Her videos that get the views, and she knows this from her titles and her thumbnails, what gets the views. Whew, she knows. So she plays into it when it suits her, but when it no longer suits her, she's going against it. Shut the fuck up, Kristi, I swear.
Conniving. And it's just,
they're conniving.
I refuse to be a part of it. That feels good. It feels good to bring other people down. Like, watching a cancellation is like, okay, oh my God, look at all this. Look, she's lost 100,000 subscribers. Oh, and let's get her to lose all her sponsors. Let's contact every sponsor that she's ever had and tell them that she hates the gays. Let's do that. That's where their enjoyment comes from. And then on the other side is me having stress diarrhea for 6 months, then having to do double therapy and having to vomit every day from anxiety and losing all my financial backing and losing all my sponsors for doing nothing. For being in a parade, for offering my house to children who needed a place to have a school.
She is so angry. Like I said, it's all because of the financial situation, all right? So she's lost the sponsors, she's lost subscribers, and she's so angry at everybody else. Everybody else, like this was not a part of her doing or none action. Like, if you had taken action, I'm almost positive that this could have been resolved. But the fact that you didn't say anything at all made it worse for you. It made it worse, because if you'd come out and made a statement, okay, a lot of your followers would have been like, that makes sense. From the Kristi I know, that makes sense. All right, so I'm going to stick around and see what she does. The sponsors would have probably, faded a little bit, but they would have come back around because they would see that you still have support. But the inaction is what led to this. It's not that, oh, these people are rage baiting and all this. Like, you didn't do anything. You didn't say anything. You let it lie and fester. At, like, what do they say about a raisin in the sun, right? So you let it fester till it became this situation. And now you're addressing it because you realize that you can't continue on because AdSense season is coming, right? I know. Look at her face. Oh my God.
What an evil bitch am I? So do I run the Don't Mess With Our Kids movement? Do I even know what it is? Have I even ever heard of it? No. I think it's pretty clear now, and I hope it's pretty clear, that you all believed a lie, tried to ruin my life, and I'm not the only one. All in all, the main reason I'm making this video is to say, I'm addressing it now because the school is no longer a thing. It's not a homeschool co-op anymore. They have gone their separate ways and the kids are doing different things. You guys have already called me the worst things that a human being can be called. You've already classified me in the worst ways a human being can be classified. I have to just wash my hands of this. It's done. What's done is done. And I wanted to explain myself one time and one time only, and have you guys hear me when I say, I don't blame you if you saw all of this stuff and gave me the side eye or wanted to quit watching my content because you wanted to see where I lie politically. But I hope now you can understand that when I say that I'm a pretty even-keeled human being, I'm pretty understanding. I really try to be open-minded. I try to be loving and compassionate towards everybody. And, the internet really tried to classify me as something that was anything other than that. You can believe the podcasts, all the podcasts that came out talking about me being the worst person in the world. You can believe all the videos of all the people that used to be really nice to me and really friendly with me and then immediately jumped on the bandwagon of hating me because it's popular. It's easy to hate somebody when they're so evil like me. Some people did reach out for comment. Many didn't. And everybody dropped me. So if you wanted to know, Amrizi said it best like 10 years ago. None of these bitches is friends. Mama. And that's true. And there are some people that did stick by me. And
hi, baby. Give that to me, Mama. Give that to me. So you hear what she said here. Now, she said, to quote Amrizi, none of these bitches is friends. Where'd that come from? Where did that come from? Like, why did she even say that? And if you know the drama with Amrizi, that does not play into this at all. Amrizi was talking about all the LA influencers that were parading around like they're all friends. And she was saying none of them are friends. Not that they're not, like how she's trying to use it in the context that she's trying to use it. That's not how, no, Kristi, shut the hell up. I swear to God.
Just knew me for who they actually knew me as instead of what the internet told them to think about me. And to those of you who you know who you are, I appreciate you more than I could ever say. It's very, very few and far between. And if you dropped me because of this, well, I hope that nothing like this ever happens to you and that everybody doesn't believe a lie about you. Because I'll tell you, some of the people that dropped me are people that I gave the benefit of the doubt when they were canceled. And yeah.
Oh my
gosh. That same grace, did they? I do wish that we were in a better climate where we could, instead of hating one another for what we think somebody might be, we could have conversations that were actually productive. And instead of attacking somebody and threatening their life and livelihood, we could just ask simply and kindly and with understanding. And then when they say something, actually try to believe them. Because the reason...
So then, what these people are saying... We'll soon come. Come, Mama, I'll be right there with you. So she gets it. What the LGBT marginalized group of people go through, okay? What all these people are trying to say to you about how they feel, you just spelled it out about a cancellation that you created yourself, pretty much. I mean, you didn't create it, but you let it perpetuate. You know what I'm saying? So you just spelled out exactly what people were saying. Now, here's my thing. You have not said anything right now. You just said, yeah, I'm not this. But you didn't say what you are. Am I just reading into that? Maybe I am, but it's like you didn't declare, you didn't denounce. First of all, you didn't denounce the movement. You didn't outright say what you believe and that you're an ally. Like at no point did you say that. You're not committing. You're just saying, oh, I'm a live and let live kind of person. And I'm sorry, but in this current climate, I don't jive with that. There's no live and let live for me anymore. It's gotten to that point where you have to make a stance or I don't know, like I have to assume you're against me because you're saying it's neither left nor right. It kind of is at this point. I'm sorry, but the right has gone so far right that if you're not against them and you're not denouncing that, like, how can I trust you? How can I trust you? And people always make this stance when nothing affects them, right? And it's easy for a white woman, and I'm going to say it, a white woman in Jamaica, a white woman in America, white people in America, white women, white men, cisgendered white women, cisgendered white men, to just declare, I'm a live and let live kind of person. All lives matter, you know, like, I don't take any sides. Like, why do I have to take a side? Are you serious? Are you serious right now? So you're saying, oh, just let people believe what they want to believe. Let people do what they want to do. When it affects other people, you're affecting other people's lives and their rights. Like, I don't know what else needs to be said or done for you to realize that it's a humanitarian issue. You kind of have to choose a side. If you're not choosing a side at this point, how can I trust you? how can I trust you? And it's never a problem until it affects you like it's doing now, Kristi. So now you understand what trans people are going through and what anyone who identifies as LGBT is going through. So you understand, right? Now that something's affecting you in the same way or a similar way, now you're like, oh, this is not right. It isn't. Correct. It isn't.
People don't speak out. Look, I'm just going to make one more thing clear. Look at every cancellation that has ever happened. I want you to actually pay attention and tell me the only one that I ever saw actually work when they responded with Jenna Marbles.
This is so stupid what she's about to say.
She left the internet. She quit forever. So that's what people want. They want you to quit forever. And the reality is that anybody else that's ever responded to their cancellation, you guys absolutely shred online. You ruin their life when they respond.
Why is she harping on this whole thing about cancellations and how people respond to cancellation? She brings up Jenna Marbles. Jenna Marbles was not canceled. Jenna Marbles came online herself and said, I look back at my previous videos, I look back at some of the things I've done and said, and I just don't align with that person. Those things were wrong, and I'm taking myself off the internet because I should not be profiting and benefiting from any of my previous content, and I should not be allowed to still exist on the platform because I caused harm. And Jenna Marbles showed every clip, everything, and she spoke about everything. Okay, she spoke about I know there was this reference she made, a derogatory statement towards Asians in one of her raps, or I don't even want to repeat it. But Jenna Marbles was clear on everything that she said, this is wrong, and she accepted it, took accountability, and took herself out of the equation. That's what Jenna did. Okay? So stop saying that if you had responded, people would have attacked you more. Would they have, Kristi? Would they have? Because I'm sorry, James Charles, your friend, is thriving, even though people have, come out about him, made different video statements, there are articles, all this about James Charles, and he's still thriving. He's still thriving. Look at Jeffree Star when what's his face, Shane Dawson, did the redemption arc for him. He was thriving. Okay. Who else is there? The other people still have a career. But when you come out as hateful, and people are just going to keep it moving.
So then when some cancellation happens and you want people to respond, why would they? Why would they respond? When
She's saying, why would they respond?
It's immediately,
she's
you're trying to
blaming
save face.
you for why
you're trying
she
to play the
didn't respond.
victim. There's nothing they could say to make you believe them, so they're just not going to say anything. That's why when some people get canceled, you're like, oh, they're not even going to respond anyway. Yeah, no shit, they're not going to respond. They're not dumb. Why would they? It's going to get bigger and worse. If I have 1 million followers and 100,000 people are coming at me, if I make a response video, I'm now alerting that other 900,000 to this thing they weren't even aware of. Whereas if you just don't say anything, the 100,000 will leave. But imagine what it feels like to have 900,000 more coming at you. I'll tell you what it feels like. The worst thing you could ever literally imagine. And I think that's what some of you guys want, the whole Reddit community. They're just, everybody hates Reddit. Nobody likes Reddit. I've never met one person who's like, I love Reddit. No, they all hate it. We all hate you. There's a reason that half the people don't even respond to their cancellations and just keep pushing. And there's a reason that the other half respond and then it ruins their life. Because we all know some of the worst cancellations that have ever happened have been when people respond out of emotion during the event. Period. That's just what happens. And so, I didn't want to be another one of those people who was absolutely crucified on the internet because I tried to save face. And I'm actually so glad I didn't respond because I did. I filmed multiple videos back then. I filmed a video in July right after it happened. I filmed a video in August. I filmed a video in September. And I'm so glad that I didn't post those because I wasn't able to smile. I wasn't able to laugh. I wasn't able to reflect and notice how this has benefited me so much. I have grown, oh my God, an unbelievable amount from this. It has helped me. My skin is so much thicker because of this. I feel alive. I feel free because you beat me down. You beat me down so far that now, hell yeah, brother. What are you gonna fucking say about me now? So anyway, yeah, there's the video. I'm not anti-LGBTQIA+, and I never was. There you go. So, do you believe me now? You don't. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!
Bye! What? Wow. She is so angry, first of all right? She is so angry right now, and she's yelling at everybody because you wouldn't have believed me anyway. How did you give people a chance? You didn't give people a chance. You didn't give people an option to believe or not believe you, okay? You didn't come out with your side of the story, and instead you were just very hostile towards everyone, and it's like, what did you think was going to happen? You thought you could just brush it under the rug like Nikita Dragon? We see how that worked out in the end, right? You thought you could just, I'm not going to respond and no one's going to believe it and it's just going to go away. It didn't, okay? It wasn't in your best interest to do that. And you're so angry at everybody else telling them they wouldn't believe it. So you had no confidence in your reputation, no confidence in your audience for them to know or feel like they could trust you with your response. That's what you're saying. You're saying your reputation stood for shit, that you aren't a good person, and that people couldn't outright see that you were a good person and treated you that way. No benefit of the doubt for your audience. You're telling them that I wasn't going to tell the other 900,000 of my subscribers about a situation so they could come at me too. No. I'm just going to pretend that it didn't happen. I'm going to be the ostrich with my head in the sand. Are you serious? So anyway, remember when I said to you that she is definitely aware that drama brings views? I want to show you on her channel, and let's go to her channel again. RawBeautyKristi videos, okay? So let me see if the popular ones show up. No. A lot of this is I'm pregnant and Jaclyn Hill. So you know that drama works, right? In the last year, the videos that she was posting, all right, were kind of alluding to I'm going to address the rumors, obviously feeding into the narrative. So she was very aware that people wanted to hear from her, and she was trying to pretend that she was going to address it, but she never did. So she jumps on with this video. You're being deceived, undisclosed sponsorships and liars online. So you know what brings the views. Okay, we need to chat and relax a little bit. All right. Am I still going to church? Only having one kid. Painting a mug and answering your questions. Remember, people are asking these questions continuously, and they were hoping at some point that she was going to actually respond. And like I said, she fed into this completely. Let's see. Religious journey, ? Answering your most asked questions. Again, things that people were asking her about, yet she never addressed this whole thing all this time. So, like I said, look, this gets really deep, answering questions that you wanted to know. Let's do this again, getting deep about controversial topics you wanted to know. So, you knew titling things that alluded to you responding to questions that people had, that would draw the views because they thought you were going to address the issue, which you didn't. You didn't at all right? And I want to talk about some of the comments because she was so cunty. Oh my God, talk about a cunt. Oh my God. Oh my God. So, wow, so crazy that all the comments are so positive. She goes, not everyone is drama-obsessed weirdo, it seems. So you're a drama-obsessed weirdo, apparently, if you just wanted her to make a statement and make you feel like it was a safe space on her channel. Oh, imagine. The fact that you said woke mob unironically in the comments tells me everything I need to know. And she goes, we found one, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, found what? Found one of what? You know? Then she goes, maybe drama channels wouldn't have listened, but previous supporters were desperate for you to denounce it at the time. Exactly. She goes, I couldn't. I could appease the 250 people who were genuine in wanting a response while subjecting the families to doxing and harassment. So there were only 250 people. That's how you're diminishing your audience. Those are the only people that wanted a response. Nah, so people could feel vindicated in my beliefs. 0% could or would allow that to happen. The kids and families didn't deserve that much. So, what? Didn't deserve that. So a bunch of supporters could see whether they believed the drama or not. I had to make a call and I made the right one. Did you? Did you? And then someone said, why did you block your actual followers though? And she did. She was blocking followers for asking her questions. Then somebody says, okay, and this is valid. LOL, the sarcastic, condescending asshole attitude is especially fun because you could have addressed this all as it was happening, but it didn't. Instead, you stayed silent and allowed this narrative to grow and fester because you wanted to play the victim and shame your audience for something you assumed they would fucking do, and this entire thing was insufferable. She said, you're a disgrace, disrespectfully. Shut up and crawl your way back to Reddit. Ooh, oh my God. It felt like after the conversation with Peter, he got mad and she didn't do what he suggested and he flipped on her. This is exactly what happened. He was constantly telling me, you need to make a video. He said to me, don't worry, Kristi, you won't get canceled. I will make another video after this. And he made at least 50 more. He's the master manipulator. I was pissed I didn't. Whoo! Girl, she is so mad. She is so mad at Peter. But if you go through her comments, she is so angry. Why did I block people harassing me and my family about a lie? Girl, you were blocking people who were asking valid questions. I have to go because I got to go tend to my baby. She cried. No, she's not crying. She's just ready for her mommy, and her daddy needs to take a nap because he was at work early this morning. Oh my gosh. Anyway, that's it for me. What do you guys think? Like, this is a long ass video because I know, but I needed to like go through everything and like really give my reaction to what she's saying. I was one of the people who liked Kristi, right? I liked Kristi when she was doing the makeup videos, having fun. She was not like the other gurus, right? Because she's like, I don't go on brand trips. I don't do the sponsorships. I don't blah, 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 blah. But then it's like she wanted to be that. It's kind of like Tati from Glam Life Guru. She wanted to be in with the in crowd. She wanted to go on the brand trips. Don't lie to me. You wanted to go on the brand trips. You wanted the millions of dollars in sponsorships. You wanted all that. The collabs. You wanted it. And you fed into the, well, I'm not like them, you know, because you saw that people wanted something different. And then you leaned into that. All right. And then you switched up your content so much and are mad that people didn't continue following you because that's not what they signed up for. Like, how are you mad at your subscribers? I was one of those subscribers who was just over it. Every day you would come on and it's the woe is me, and you would complain that your videos aren't getting views. You aren't getting this, and you don't feel like filming, and you hate everything. And it's like, it's draining. I don't know about you, but I can't like participate and watch that content when the world is going to shit. Sometimes I want an escape. You were no longer an escape. It's like every day you came on complaining, and then you shifted to this homesteaded thing that I'm not interested in. And I still watch some of the videos, you know, but like things change. The audience changes. What they want to see changes. And you can't fault them for that. It has happened across the board to everyone. And if you aren't constantly changing and watching the algorithm and trying to figure out how to fit yourself in that, guess what? Your views are going to fall. And that's no fault of the audience, okay? They don't owe you a view. They don't owe you anything. They're not obligated to you. If you're doing this as a job, then you need to pivot as needed. So many other creators have pivoted. Angelica Nyquist pivoted her channel. Like, she is thriving. Kelly Gooch pivoted as well. Also thriving. I love Kelly's videos. She realized that makeup reviews and makeup videos aren't doing that great. Let me pivot and make more commentary style videos. Love that for her. Jen from Jen Loves Reviews, which we'll mention in a minute. Jen also pivoted her content. She changed her channel to Jen Love because Jen Loves Reviews just, it wasn't her thing anymore. And she switched over, also doing more commentary style videos and more news focused videos when it comes to beauty. And she is thriving too. So it's like people are shifting as needed, moving with the algorithm, the tastes of the beauty community. You didn't. You shifted completely, and then you're blaming your audience for not being interested. Like, make it make sense to me. Speaking of Jen Loves, okay, I want to mention this before we go. Jen Loves, because there's a comment, I couldn't find it and I don't feel like searching for it, but Kristi, pretty much, somebody said to her, did you mention all this that you're saying in this video to Jen Loves? Because Jen mentioned, she didn't really talk extensively about it. She spoke about it in a live stream today. So check her out. She mentioned the conversation she had with Kristi, and I spoke to Jen because last year when we went on our creators and friends trip, we spoke to like we talk, all right? So Jen was telling me and telling a bunch of us, and because we took an Uber together, and she was saying, yeah, like she was hurt. She was very disappointed about the stance that Kristi took, and she had to just distance herself because Jen has gotten herself into trouble. You know, Jen knows what's up. So Jen distanced herself from Kristi when Kristi didn't speak up. And Jen explained to us, like, she had a conversation. She was intending on visiting Kristi for like her trip that she made to Washington. She was intending on hanging out with Kristi. Where you gonna do? You bring off your ride?
Yeah, I'm gonna buy some feed. I'm hungry.
Okay. So Jen mentioned that, hey, I reached out to Kristi when I saw this whole thing go down, and I was asking her, like, to make it clear, like, make a statement or something. And Jen just wanted to see, like, where Kristi stood, like, what Kristi's thoughts were, right? Because that's the kind of person Jen is. She gives people the benefit of the doubt, and it's probably one of the things that she could probably work on a bit, because she will give people the benefit of the doubt to her detriment sometimes, right? She wants to see the best in people. She believes that people are inherently good and they can be good, and she always tries to see the best in people, which is a beautiful thing. But like I said, it can be to her detriment sometimes, and Jen has learned that, right? She has been friends with, like, drama channels, and they've turned against her, so she knows, right? Like, she knows. So Jen reached out to Kristi trying to, like, what's going on? I'm coming to visit you. This trip has been planned for months and months and months. I have a non-binary child, okay? Her oldest is non-binary, and she wants her child to feel safe. At the end of the day, she's a mother. And if my kid doesn't feel safe, and if you are holding these views, I can't with good conscience subject my family to that, subject my child to that. I'm not going to come to your house and be uncomfortable just for the sake of visiting you. Like, my child comes first. My family comes first. And Kristi was telling her, oh, the homesteading and the homeschoolers, and they're doxing these people, and I can't come out and say anything. And like, she gave her this whole spiel. Like, Jen was explaining it in the car. She didn't give us, like, the full rundown, like, privacy. Kristi's entitled to her privacy. And Jen was like, I'm not comfortable telling you, like, exactly what she said, but here's the gist of it. And Kristi still couldn't come out and say anything to Jen. And Jen was like, all right, well, I'm going to see what she does. Jen didn't give her an ultimatum at all, because that's not Jen. Jen was just like, let me see what happens, because I don't believe you're this person. I think you're a good person. I don't believe these things about you. But understand, I'm not comfortable bringing my family and my kids there. And Jen even mentioned in her live chat today that really she didn't want pictures to come out. Right? After the fact, people are going to take pictures. They're going to post and say, oh, Jen is friends with Kristi. Look at this, right? So Jen was also protecting her livelihood, right? So Jen knew that if she was seen aligning with Kristi, that things could go awry for her. Jen, again, learned from the previous times. Like, she don't want none of that to be happening, right? So Jen made that stand. She made a decision because Jen has very strong views when it comes to trans rights and LGBT rights, right? So it's personal for Jen. Jen is making a decision. It's not personal for Kristi. Kristi couldn't care less, right? And then a month later, Jen reached out to Kristi again and was like, listen, I'm going to need to distance myself, just like the James Charles situation that Kristi should have done. But Jen was like, I have to unfollow you. Okay, I can't have people thinking we're friends. I can't have people thinking I'm associated with you. I would love to be friends. And Jen said this. She wanted to be friends with Kristi so bad because Jen loves to be friends with people. Like, that's just who she is. Jen is such a genuine person. And I'll mention my interactions with Jen in a little bit. But Jen is such a really genuine person. And like I said, she tries to see the best in people. So Jen wanted to be friends with Kristi so bad. But when Kristi couldn't come out and denounce a group that is against a child similar to hers, Jen was like, I can't be associated with you. Just like how she distanced herself from Ofra Cosmetics. And that's how Jen is. That's how genuine Jen is. Jen is like, the money is there, but I have to distance myself because I can't be seen associated with this, even if I take a financial hit. That's who Jen is. And my personal interaction with Jen. So you guys probably, I don't know if you know, but I had this whole thing with Marlena Estelle from Makeup Geek. Whole thing, I'm not gonna get into it, but I had this whole thing with Marlena Estelle, and Jen is friends with Marlena, like really cool friends with her, right? She met her, they talk, whatever. So she's very supportive of Marlena, but Jen is also friends with me. Like, we're not tight, like we're not, like this, but Jen has invited me to her home. She said, hey, if you're coming to Maryland, come visit me. Like, she's been very open with me. We've gone on these creators and friends trips. She's hung out with me directly, like me and Kelsey Brianna J and Shelly from Shelly Saves the Day, I think it is. But Shelly, like, we hung out as a group when everybody else went. So Jen is like, Jen and I are cool, right? We're friends. She sits with me at dinner, so we're cool. And she was so sad when she saw that me and Marlena were going at it, because it was on site for me and Marlena. And Jen asked me that question at Creators and Friends. She's like, you still have an issue with Marlena? And I said, Jen, it's on site. It's on site. I promise you. It's really not. It's really not. I mean, I'm grown. Marlena is grown. Like, we had, you know, the back and forth, but I am so quick to be like, whatever, I dismiss it. Not that I'm going to be friends with you. I'm not going to talk to you, and I'm not going to support you. But, like, it's water under the bridge after a while. So, you know. But Jen was like, I'm friends with Marlena and I'm friends with you, and I don't want to take sides, and I want to explain, you know, what happened. Like, she's like, Marlena's side, and here's your side, and she's like trying to be the intermediary, and I'm like, oh, Jen. And she's kind of the reason I texted Marlena too and like tried to squash everything, because I don't think Marlena's a bad person. I don't think Jen is a bad person, but like, you do bad things. So like, what are you doing? And it was against me. So what we doing, Marlena? So like, Jen is that kind of person. Just to tell you what kind of person Jen is. She always tries to, like, you know, be the peacemaker and see the best in people. So I know, like, it genuinely hurt her to not be able to meet Kristi and be friends with Kristi after planning this trip for so long. So I know it hurts Jen to have to, like, you know, break all ties with her. And I support Jen in this. Kristi always struck me as, you know, they're people, and Jamaican people will tell you this. You just get a vibe off of people, like your spirit, like something in your heart. I tell you, say, this person, something alright, something just a little bit, you know? So I always had this thing about Kristi, but I liked her, just like I like Jacqueline Hill. But when you switch and become the person that I can't vibe with anymore, it's done. It's done. I'm over it. I'm gone, right? So there you go. That's all I have to say. Now I'm sweating. Like, y'all, I showed you the dress. Look how wet the dress is. Oh my God, I gotta go. I'm gonna go shower now. But let me know what you think. Like, did you watch the video? Did you follow, like, the situation this whole time? Are you just hearing about it? Like, what are your thoughts? Let me know. Car chat is about 2 hours long. Oh my God, I did not expect it to be this long, guys. But you know I love to chat, and I had to play the video and pause and all this. But anyhow, there you have it. Those are my thoughts. Don't promise you another car chat anytime soon, but now that I figured out this whole setup to film, maybe we can see more car chats if a topic calls for it. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.